Hey, what is going on, everybody? It's Cap here. This will be my very first video where I get to talk to you all, discussing and sharing some information that I don't know might help you guys out. As you know, strikers or grandmasters aren't really the first choice when you want a mass PvP centric class, or let's say a group PvP centric class. But in my very own opinion, strikers or grandmasters aren't that terrible. They can be quite bad, but it's not that terrible. It's kind of like in the middle of good and bad. So it's in there. But it all depends, actually. You can make use of the strikers, let's say, being the top one contributor in a node war, for example. It all depends on how you play your grandmaster. But in my case, in my opinion, strikers can be good flankers, damage support. For node wars, they are awesome divers. And for general mass or group PvP content, they can be a good disruptors, or the one who makes the enemy go panic. Something like that. Plus we have grab, so if you have grab, you are a good support for the main damager of your group or your guild. So before anything else, I think some of my friends, also some of the guys over at Discord, also mentioned or asked me, why Grandmaster, why Striker? You also have the Hashashin as your secondary main character, and that class is like one of the best melee classes currently here on Black Desert Mobile. Why do I pick Striker or Grandmaster? Well, to answer you all, look at this guy. He looks so badass, right? Bro. Bro. See that? See how he flexes those muscles there? Or at least in my opinion, he's one of the most badass characters in this game because he doesn't possess any weapons other than his fists. His costumes are good, the main ones rather. What I mean is this one. It's the Blazing Inferno. I got it into, I dyed it into silver and black, those color combinations, and he's like the Quicksilver right now. So, but yeah, that's just why I picked Grandmaster. I picked style over function, so yeah, I'm mainly focusing on Grandmaster, but yeah, it's because they're so badass, man. They're badass. Hashashins are actually good in almost every content that you give out in Black Desert Mobile, because they have it all: mobility, AoE, that follow-up PvP damage that I call it the poison damage, because it's a different damage over time mechanic. It's different from the bleed and burns, so I call it the poison damage. just to differentiate it from the bleeds and the burns. But yeah, I still pick Grandmaster as my go-to main. So, but I think we're straying out of the topic right now. So to answer the question, why Grandmaster, there you have it. It's because it's badass, right? They're badass. See that guy punching and kicking those helms? I'm at helms, by the way, because I forgot that I still have knowledge here. I was at frontline area most of the time. But anyway, alright, let's get to the point. Alright, so let's talk about guild versus guild, mass PvP or group PvP, my very own skill build. Because I think some of the Grandmaster guys here are actually using their PvP build, mostly this one, wherein this is the general lineup for the when you are in the arenas. You have the knee hammer, you have the shoulder thrust, you have the gale force, you have the hell sweep, disrespect, energy vacuum, the Grandmaster's call, and spiral cannon. I'm not saying that you cannot use this, but I have kind of like have a different playstyle. If you can rewatch some of my videos, that I don't use shoulder thrust at all when it comes to group or mass PvP. And this is my skill build. Pretty much almost the same, right? Just minus the shoulder thrust. So on the first tab, I have knee hammer. Second is the gale force. Third is the hell sweep. Then on the last skill will be my spiral cannon. On the second tab, I have the energy vacuum, the disrespect, the Grandmaster's call. That's our main or primary buff skill, and spiral cannon again. So why do I have two spiral cannons inside both of the tabs in there? It's because of accessibility on that skill. Spiral cannon is one of our main skill that we can use to either escape or chase. So my hands are actually terrible when it comes to its reaction time, given that it has a previous injury. I think thrice. I had carpal tunnel syndrome before. I I broke this hand. I got sprains and strains and tendonitis, whatever we call this. But my right hand is pretty much damaged. Can't even play the guitar right anymore. But yeah, so the reason why I have those two spiral cannons in there is that because of accessibility. Because every time there is a like an oh shit moment, I like to be able to get out of that bad situation as quickly as I can to reposition and reassess on how to deal with it, right? So, well, I can always go knee hammer, but it's if I place two knee hammers in there and I just use the knee hammer because that's my engaged skill, it's on cooldown, right? I'm not using spiral cannon that much often, so I need to be it on two tabs so that I can quickly escape or chase. It is a good chasing skill as well for Ramones and also for Black Sun, and also a good disrupting skill when it comes to Battlefield of the Sun because you can actually just spiral cannon from left to right, hitting everything in between. There might be a chance that you can knock down. Is this knockdown? Yes, this is knockdown. Knock back. Sorry. You can. There's a chance that you can knock back some of the opponents in there attacking the boss or attacking as a group. So that's the reason why I have spiral cannon in there. Right. So it's pretty much straightforward, but knee hammer is used mainly to close the gaps and for repositioning. So if you noticed on my previous videos that sometimes I use knee hammer to replace my dodge. So that's another escape skill because you have 3 dodges because of the... Where is it? Where's my knee hammer? This one. Because of the Ravenous Flow. So while you're moving, you're pretty much invincible. And you have super armor while attacking. So you can use this one to trade super armors, provided that you do some lingering for a bit. And while you are moving or dashing, you have this short invincibility frames. So if I run out of dodges or I want to conserve my dodges, I use knee hammer. And knee hammer has a 5-second cooldown, so that's actually quite good. Yeah, so basically that's how I use knee hammer. Used to close the gaps, repositioning, and as well as a means of escape to save dodges. Right, or maybe to replace my dodges. Next one would be the Gale Force. Well, hold on, let me. Gale Force, this one. Gale Force and Hell Sweep. This is our typical bread and butter skills. So usually we use Gale first Yeah, Gale first. Gale Force first. That was a tongue twister. Gale Force first before doing the Hell Sweep. So I do not cancel the last animation of the Hell Sweep for an energy vacuum. It's because my hands won't react that quickly. So, but I do the whole flow of Hell Sweep, which is this one, the Jin Energy Blast. Let me show it to you. This one, two, three, the whole Kamehameha thing. So after you hit Gale Force, and then I Hell Sweep, and then he didn't do the Kamehameha. Did I? No, not activated. There we go. All right. So close the gap, knee hammer, repositioning, then Gale Force to knock them down, and use the Hell Sweep to inflict bound. Yeah, bound on the last hit. So those two, Gale Force and Hell Sweep, will be the bread and butter skills for this one as my skill build. Then next one would be, yeah, of course, Spider Cannon. I already explained before. Um, Energy Vacuum. It's kind of a what do you call it? I don't use it that much often because after I use the Gale Force and Hell Sweep, I normally reposition myself outside of the clash because Gale Force has good range. It is a mid-range skill. It has good range, but not that long range. But you can actually use the skill at quite a distance so that you can be safe. So, and then if you do the Hell Sweep, you'll be jumping right back into that clash or group. So, in order for me to survive, I usually dash out or knee hammer away because usually knee hammer is already up by the time that I finish the Hell Sweep. So I knee hammer out and then reposition and then Gale Force and Hell Sweep again. But but in in times of a very sticky situation, or if I really need to deal damage to a group, or let's say there is a situation that I need to inflict as much damage as I can. Say, for example, you are diving into the enemy artifact in a node bar. So you can't really use knee hammer again because knee hammer only gives a quite small damage. So, and you should save your knee hammer to reposition, right? So if I use Gale Force and Hell Sweep, since I'm attacking the enemy artifact, I follow it up with the Energy Vacuum and then Knee Hammer out or Spiral Cannon out. That's the only time that I use Energy Vacuum. So my main bread and butter skills would be just the Gale Force and Hell Sweep. Energy Vacuum is situational. So next would be the Disrespect. This is a good one because sometimes that I don't get to use this because most of the time in a clash, because the area is so wide and your target opponent can be has super armor in the field, right? Everyone has super armor in the field, or at least forward guard. Um, I'll talk to you guys about the super armor and forward guard in a bit. So there might be a chance that you cannot CC lock a target, right? Or maybe your other opponent or your other teammates are already applied CC to that, right? That's the time that I can just use my grab or disrespect. But it depends because sometimes it misses. And if the grab miss on disrespect, strikers have this long animation that they raise their hands up in the air and they were like, ah, okay, I missed my grab. All right, time to do the shoulder flexing pose just to make them not notice that I made a mistake, right? That kind of thing. The animation is long unless you cancel it, but or let's say just use another skill. But during that time, sometimes I want to conserve my dodges, and I don't have any skills, or maybe I don't have any dodges left. So I only use the grab or the disrespect skill depending on the situation. So that is me. So plus, if there is a high CP opponent, then I use that grab targeting that opponent. I use the disrespect more often in Black Sun, especially while I go hunting, or if we are ganking up an extremely high CP opponent. So, but it can miss, and if it misses, that long ass animation is gonna give you headaches. Then the last one would be the Grandmaster Skull. It's pretty much standard that everyone has a buff skill or a healing skill. So, Grandmaster Skull is gives you a it heals you every 166 HP every 2 seconds for level 7. Gives you 50 attack for 30 seconds and it reduces your evasion by 2 seconds. So it's pretty much standard. If that skill has finished its cooldown, just use it along with your Black Spirit buff. So yeah, those are my skills that I use in mass PvP or group PvP and even Black Sun. So question is, so why do I don't have a shoulder thrust then? So in mass PvP, this is we're now to the point where I explain why I don't use shoulder thrust and the CZ stuff. So in mass PvP or group PvP or in field in general, you have to use as much as possible super armor, in my opinion, because I don't know, shoulder thrust has forward guard. Let me check. Let me check. Yes, shoulder thrust has forward guard. Good if you're one versus one an opponent. So especially when you're dealing with huntresses, fletchers, archers, VKs, but you in a mass PvP you are 80% at risk in taking damage from all sides because they have teammates, right? So I'd rather tank the damage with super armor than negating the forward damage but getting CC'd in the process. Because if I tank or trade super armors with that opponent, I can actually think of a way to get out of a messy situation instead of me getting CC'd using shoulder thrust and I'm down on the ground spamming dodge. But what if I don't have any dodge left and then I'm pretty much dead? Right. So that's the reason why I don't have shoulder thrust in my arsenal here for mass PvP and group PvP. So this setup has been the most effective for me. I don't use this skill number 2 that often because this is a 1 versus 1 type of skill set and I don't do 1 versus 1 that much. It's the reason why I stayed in master rank even with the 100% minimum damage increase before. Now it's down to 50. So I don't do ranked arena or any 1 versus 1 matches. It's not my forte. I enjoy group or mass PvP. So yeah, but these set of skills are actually what is the most effective for me in my playstyle. So that's my skill build. I do hope that you learned something or you got something out of this, and there is a Black Sun. So anyway, see ya guys.